list of fancy credentials, but what we lacked in credentials, we made up for in passion. And every single person here can represent Trayvon Martin's family. What they're going through, what they're experiencing is incomprehensible, disgusting, cruel, and evil. It is up to us to take a stand. We have to make sure that this is a shot heard around the world.
I heard about this rally through Twitter. Going through my daily tweets, my timeline, and it popped up that DC was having a Trayvon Martin rally.
I heard about the Twitter and Facebook, and just, it was mostly a trending topic the whole week.
On Facebook. On Facebook, I got tagged with the flyer.
I saw it being posted on Twitter maybe about 3 days ago.
I just want to take this opportunity to ask you guys to lift your Skittles up in the air. If you don't have your Skittles, lift up your iced tea. If you don't have your iced tea, lift up a fist. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I want you to turn to your neighbor. You repeat after me. Neighbor, they gonna learn today.
We're standing up today because we are all Trayvon Martins. We're standing up today because one thing that is true is that racism has been pervasive in this country since the first folks set their foot on Plymouth Rock. But we're saying today that we're never, ever going to be quiet or silent or passive or apathetic. We will shake this entire nation. We aim for justice to take place.
People are saying arrest Zimmerman, prosecute Zimmerman, but if that happens, then the police can say we arrested one man and put him in prison and now justice has been served. Well, we know with 2 million people in prison, that's the exact opposite. And so I think what needs to happen from now, first of all, the stand your ground law in Florida that allows people to use lethal force against anyone that they find that they think is suspicious or might be threatening them has to be repealed right away, first of all, point blank. And then after that, the ways in which surveillance, policing is so ingrained in our communities that you have somebody walking around the neighborhood calling 911 46 times just this year on people who he thinks is suspicious. That whole culture of surveillance and trying to find out who to put in prison next has to be stopped. And third, the criminalization of black and brown youth everywhere, including Latino youth like Zimmerman, needs to be stopped and ended.
At this time, we must question the morality of our society. We must ask ourselves, what type of country do we live in where a person can be shamelessly murdered and his killer not brought to trial? Trayvon was shot and killed by a man who saw him as an other, as a suspicious and threatening black person and not as a fellow American. In our country, we lack the sense of a common unifying identity. We are not just American, we are black, white, Latino, Arab, Asian. Through embracing our uniqueness, we tend to forget our commonality. Our primary identity lies in our distinctions rather than our uniformity. Because of this, we fail to recognize that we are each brothers and sisters, neighbors with a common bond. Let us not let the death of Trayvon Martin solely be another gruesome event in American history. Let us not let Trayvon's awful death be in vain.
It has to stop. We have to, come together, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. We have to, we got to stop this. It's just sad. This right here is a start. The rally was a start. Let's keep it going. Let's put, we have to put our foot down.
We're standing in the backdrop of the district building in the nation's capital. We've come to tell the world that we're sick and tired of being sick and tired of our black boys being endangered species. No justice, no peace. We're standing in the backdrop of the district building in the nation's capital. We've come to tell America a justice for all unjustified endeavors, and we're not gonna take it anymore. No justice, no peace. We're standing in the backdrop of the district building in the nation's capital. We've come to tell the world, stop killing our young black boys. No justice,
need to show that, you know, this affects us. Like, this is a person that was killed for no reason. This is a 17-year-old kid going to get snacks from the corner store, like any regular kid. And because he wears a hoodie, he's suspicious, and now he's a target. And if you heard the call, it's 911, you know what type of tragedy this is for a kid to be killed like that. Like, he's just there to visit his father, and he loses his life because someone feels that he's suspicious. You know, people need to come out and make sure that it's known that we're not going to stand for this.
It's time for whites to come out and say that they're not going to tolerate this. You can't just shoot a young man down in the prime of his life and then say it's because he was wearing a hoodie. The other thing is, I think people are concerned because they are concerned for justice in this country. They're concerned that we're headed in the wrong direction. We should be becoming more involved in these type of activities because we're not going in the right direction.
I am Trayvon Martin. I am Trayvon Martin. This is what happened. Can you imagine in the state of Florida where they have a law that if you even think that you're threatening to me, I can pull out a gun and shoot him? Now, what do you think would have happened if Trayvon would have felt threatened and he would have shot Zimmerman and Zimmerman would have been in the morgue? Then you know that young 17-year-old black kid would be in jail this day. April 10th, the grand jury meets to convene in Sanford, Florida. Now, we don't know who's going to be on that jury. We don't know where they're going to come from. And we don't know what decision they're going to come up with. But I am calling on this day that April 10th be National Hoodie Day. April 10th is National Hoodie Day. April 10th.
There is no amount of motherly advice. There is no amount of wisely held counsel. There is no attire that could have saved Trayvon Martin from being chased and shot dead in the middle of the street. I come before you today to say that we are not here to debate a so-called hold your ground law, because I am telling you that the one person that night who had the right to hold his ground and fight for his life is Trayvon Martin.
This, for me, is the most important social event that's happening in the world right now. You know, I'm a black mother, and my son, when he was 18 years old, was stopped 30 times by the police. 30 times. I should say that was 30 times in like 2 months. And at one point, the police actually followed my son to our home. I heard sort of the screeching of brakes, and my son ran out of the car and left the engine going, ran into the house, and I'm like, what's going on? I look outside, and he's screaming, the police, the police. And I look outside, and there's the police right in front of my house.
This is every black mother's nightmare that her son might not come home. We've got to get up off our rear ends and start working to make sure that this never again happens, and we got to keep on fighting until George Zimmerman goes to jail and pays for the murder of our baby. Just like our president said yesterday, If I had a son, Trayvon Martin would look just like that. My son would look like Trayvon Martin. I say the same, and we must all believe the same, that he could have been any one of our sons, no matter what our race, creed, culture, gender. We must be concerned about everybody's child.
Like I said, I love these events, but I just wish that we would be more involved on a regular basis as opposed to just everybody becoming an instant politician as soon as these events happen and then going back to the regularly scheduled programming afterwards. You know what I'm saying? It takes a constant movement in order for anything to really change. So, you know, you see somebody going wrong, especially in our younger generation, and go after them and speak up about it. You know, mentoring, outreaches, that's what it's about at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? These things hopefully will not continue to happen, but if we're active and we're going to be able to mobilize not only a lot quicker, but the movement will grow and it'll be bigger, in my opinion.
I need you to turn to your friend, whoever's beside you, and tell them this isn't just about today. Turn to somebody else, tell them this is not just about today. If this stops today, then it doesn't mean anything. This is about tomorrow and the day after that and the week after that and the month after that and a year after that and a decade after that.
We don't necessarily want this situation to be another Troy Davis situation where people are upset about things and then once it's over and ended, we go on with our, you know, our daily lives until another situation arises, just like Trayvon Martin's situation. So one major thing we need to do is to register to vote if we aren't already registered and to actually go out and vote.
It better be some justice or some peace or some people will be looking for some jobs. Some elected officials gonna be looking for some jobs. So when we say no justice, no peace, mean it, ladies and gentlemen. Go out here and register to vote. When you turn 18, instead of buying some cars or some $200 shoes, go register to vote. Go register to put the right people in office. Because that's what it's all about.
And when you go and vote, I cannot stress this enough. When you go and vote, think about it. Do it not only for Trayvon, but do it for your Trayvon. Do it for yourself. And even if you want to make a message loud and clear on election day, wear your hoodie. Don't just wear it on April 10th. Don't just let this be a momentary situation. We got a very tough situation. And just think about this. I know a lot of folks are charged up, but a young man's life was lost.
Who will cry for the little boy who had dreams of succeeding? Who will cry for the little boy who now lays bleeding? Who will cry for this little boy? Justice has not been served. Who will cry for the little boy? The system has become unnerved.
And I want to leave you guys with a passing thought. I find it pretty ironic that Zimmerman is now afraid for his life. I find it pretty ironic that he's looking over his shoulder. I find it pretty ironic that he's avoiding the police. He has now created his own reality. He has now created the reality of the very black men, young and old, that he terrorized. So when you guys leave here, do not leave here discouraged. As a community, we demand justice for Trayvon Martin.
So I leave you saying thank you for coming out. Damn the rain, damn the snow. Just come on out and call your friends and keep listening for information and then question the information. And I say this again, how can he be murdered 70 feet from his house and nobody in that house knew?